Hello, welcome back to Gary's Horror Drive-In. This week I got a pretty substantial amount of a movie haul here this week. 23 titles in all, varying places I bought from. Let's get started on the main one here today. Just thought I'd kind of go with this film. It's a little bit eye-catching and probably isn't really kind of goes under the radar. It's from Bret Easton Ellis, the creator of American Psycho. And this one was inspired by true events. It's called Smiley Face Killers. They only have eyes for you. And I think I caught this one a while back, but I revisited it last night because it's available now on Tubi. A little plug for them today. This movie was okay. It took a good 45-50 minutes for it to get really, really solid. That's my only complaint. It kind of felt like the first 45-50 minutes kind of felt like something out of a Beverly Hills 90210. And I know that's not what you want to hear about a horror film, but it had a lot of college relationships and the bickering that goes on at with the parties and stuff that they throw at night. But this one comes with a digital code, so again, if you want this digital code, let me know. I'm not a digital code hoarder. I don't even really, I don't know. I just like to collect physical media. I'm not about digital copies. But Death Isn't Coming is here. This has special features on this one, behind the scenes with the cast, interviews, and a trailer gallery. This one is from Grindstone Entertainment. I think I might have said in past videos Grindstone Pictures, but it's Grindstone Entertainment and Lionsgate, rated R. Clocks in at 96 minutes. But like I said, you'd think this cover, based on what you're seeing, would be a knock it out of the park kind of horror film. I do think it does pick up the last third act of the movie, but it's so little, so too late kind of thing. And basically, from acclaimed writer Bret Easton did American Psycho in Less Than Zero, and director Tim Hunter from River's Edge comes this intense, pulse-pounding serial killer tale based on actual events as a strange wave of mysterious drownings of male college students plague the California coast. Maybe somebody out there tonight that's in the California area would, obviously be more familiar with this. I don't know how true this really is. Is this loosely based on that? Who knows? Jake struggles to keep his life together at school, finding himself stalked by a hooded figure, Crispin Glover, Back to the Future. I never even caught that was Crispin Glover. I don't know, that's just how they did such a good job with his character. I didn't even catch that. But he was the driver of the unmarked van seen throughout this movie. Jake fears he may become the next victim in the killer's horrific spree. And this is a Region A or Region 1, whatever you want to call it. There's the look at the really cool cover. I really like that. Kind of gives you that Purge look a little bit too as well. But interesting, that it has a take on some real life stuff as opposed to just just being loosely based out of a director's imagining of something and taking an original source and running with it. I believe this is a Scream Factory, next title here. This stars Ernest Borgnine, Deadly Blessing, and blanking on the other dude's name too. And I don't want to do that. Okay, Michael Berryman is in this as well. Pray You're Not Blessed. This is a collector's edition. I have caught this I haven't ever actually watched it in its entirety. I've seen it on cable in the past. I kind of passed it up, and I'm just kind of always on the fence about it because I didn't know how really scary it really was. Because I get to thinking, how scary can it be? It's kind of almost like an Amish community kind of horror film kind of thing. But this one was directed by Wes Craven. Has a slew of special features, including a theatrical trailer. The Cult Movie Guide says it's a bizarre, creepily effective tale from horror legend Wes Craven. And I'm not going to read how long it is, what it's about, because it's quite extensive. It kind of pays homage to Jeff East from Pumpkinhead, Lisa Hartman from The 17th Bride, Like I said, Michael Berryman. Very happy to add this to the collection. And again, this is a Screen Factory release, so I don't have too many of those in my collection. I might want to start thinking about picking them up because I've noticed the prices are starting to come down on the Screen Factory. I don't know if they're just making waves, for new, like new content, like, newer titles, and they're kind of marking their older stuff down. But I'm sure this is going to be a really good one, Deadly Blessing. And then next up, here's a movie I've seen. This too is a Screen Factory release from John Carpenter. It's called Village of the Damned, Beware of the Children. I seen this one at the drive-in back in the day, and you probably don't really need it read to you what it's really about, because it's more or less these kids with these telekinetic powers, and they can read your mind and that kind of thing. And it's pretty well done. It's pretty faithful to the original. I had a lot of fun with this. And this comes with a slew, and I do mean a slew amount of features on this disc. Behind-the-scenes still gallery, a theatrical trailer. Takes a village, the making of Village of the Damned. I want to say when this come out on Showtime, I think they kind of did a little bit of a breakdown of it as well. And this is rated R. I'm trying to find out what year. Okay, it comes out in 95. Man, it does not seem possible. I seen this at the drive-in 30 years ago. Clocks in at 99 minutes, but always had fun with this one. I know it's not everybody liked it, but I had fun with this one. I recommend you get a chance to see this. That's Village of the Damned. Just look, it's a really hard to see back with the kids with the discolored, kind of like orange neon eyes kind of going on. Kind of creepy, just you don't see too many horror films where kids are the scary focal point in a movie. But kind of reminds you a little bit of The Children as well from Trauma a little bit as well. Kind of like in that vein, that kind of thing. But that's Village of the Damned. Happy to pick that one up. My nephew's a really big John Carpenter fan, and he was really happy that I was able to get that one. And then next up, we got a movie starring Jan Widdop, Joel McHale, and very kind of like all over the board and in kind of different horror films, Justin Long. It's a Wonderful Knife. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets to kill. And I did see this one as well. This is an RLJ Entertainment. I had pretty much quite a bit of fun with this one. It wasn't great, but me being a slasher fan that I am, I really like this one. Since Justin Long delivers a standout performance as Collider, extremely fun, delivers on both bloody kills and holiday spirits, says Mama Geeky. And if I didn't say this is from RLJ Entertainment, came out in 2023, it's saying, and clocks in at around an hour and 27 minutes. Pretty typical of a slasher film. You gotta really go into reading this one either. You kind of know slasher. It's a holiday slasher film, more or less. Very, very. Had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was okay for what it was. I mean, was it on the level of Black Christmas? No, but not many of these slasher films that take place at the holidays really are. But this has quite a few special features, and I highly recommend picking this up if you haven't already. And that's It's a Wonderful Knife, and I like that little takeoff on it. It's a Wonderful Life, and they kind of stick the knife adage wording in there. And then next up, we got a movie called It, The Terror from Beyond Space. And I get this one mixed up with It Came from Outer Space, because it's kind of similar. The Revelation Chakra of Things to Come. This is a black and white presented Nikino Lorber and MGM as well. Released disc. Clocks in at 69 minutes. Has quite a few special features for an older film. Brand new HD master from a 2K scan of the 35 millimeter fine grain presentation. So this should look really snappy, on those HDs that, you know, like really look good in black and white and stuff. Like some HD TVs don't look quite as good with black and white, but mine does pretty good with that, considering it's a 75-inch and it's like, you know, it's not really, you know, it doesn't look compressed all that much or anything on there, you know, like no blocking or anything like it used to be when HD came along. But yeah, I was very happy to get this. Let's look at the back. I don't know if you can see that too good. My lighting is not the best in where I'm recording now, but that's it. The Terror from Beyond Space. I just something about this cover screen picked me up, so I did. And here's a movie that came out quite a long time ago now. I want to say this was an original film for USA Network. They say cats have 9 lives. Will one of them be yours? And that's the film Strays. This is a Screen Factory presented disc as well. Comes out in 1991. And a very short 83 minutes on this one. But basically, it's a bunch of feral cats that have. I don't know if I can't remember. I haven't seen it quite a long time. I don't know if they kind of come into something that's made them sinister. You know, something like out of Pet Sematary, like naturally, like the evilness of the area, or what. I can't really remember. All I do really remember about this one is it had Kathleen Quinlan, who plays the wife of Timothy Busfield, who we all know from Revenge of the Nerds, and Kathleen Quinlan we knew from the Twilight Zone movie, and she played in The Doors and several other. She played in Clint Eastwood, or not Clint Eastwood, but Kurt Russell Breakdown, I think it was called, where they got kind of lost in the kind of like in the desert or whatever, kind of left for, you know, not like dead, but like, you know, their outcome's not going to be too good, where they break down. But yeah, I really like this one too. I remember me being a big cat and dog fan, I had to have this as well. I like these killer cat, killer dog type movies, and that's the movie Strays. And I know this one totally gets a lot of hate, and I kind of get it to a point, but I do think we did need a remake of this at some point. This is based on the original movie Prom Night. Well, it's kind of like a reboot, more or less, but loosely based on that one. Unrated version, A Night to Die For. Regions A, B, and C. Bonus view, picture-in-picture storyboard track. And I'm not going to go into detail and read what this is about, because we pretty much, if you know Prom Night with Leslie Nielsen and several actors, and Jamie Lee Curtis, you pretty much get that same thing with this, only they put it in a different like backdrop, and like it's all about being in the big city in this high rise, and kind of he's picking off people for the prom. And I mean, I kind of, in a way, I know it gets a lot of hate, but I kind of honor it in a way, because it tried to do something different. It didn't, you know, have the abandoned school where the kid fell to their death in the original, and everybody kind of had. I feel like I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of, if anything, copied the original Prom Night anyway, because they kind of had the secret and they covered it up for years, and they, you know, they got picked off one by one. But I thought some of the kills in this were pretty cool, though, in the same instance. And I saw this one at the drive-in back in the day. I think I actually saw this a couple times while it was playing at the drive-in. That's how much I had fun with this one. I know out there tonight I'm probably going to get bagged on and hated on about liking this, but I don't know. I liked it. It wasn't great by any means, but I think if you like the movies like Valentine and movies like that, I think you'll have fun with this one. But yeah, I'm trying to see when this one came out. Geez, it doesn't seem like it was only 2008. Saying 2008 on the back. It says it clocks in at a hair under an hour and a half at 89 minutes. But that's Prom Night, and I apologize about the coloring of the poster, or the cover to the Blu-ray, because it's really not the most standout-ish, but that's Prom Night. In this film, I gotta say, this is probably my top 5 film of this year. It's a Shudder original. It stars Academy Award winning or nominee John Lithgow and Academy Award winner Jeffrey Rush. The Role of Jenny Penn. One of the best movies I've seen this year, and I'd have to agree with Stephen King. I thought this was a really good film. Like I said, this was a Shudder release, and IFC Films, rated R, and clocks in at 103 minutes. Utter nightmare fuel, says the Hollywood News. I'll read this one. This one's kind of short. Arrogant Judge Stefan Mortensen, Jeremy Rush, suffers a near-fatal stroke, leaving him partially paralyzed and confined to a retirement home. Resistant to the staff and distant from his friendly roommate, Mortensen soon clashes with seemingly gentle resident Dave Creeley Lithgow, which he goes all kinds of psycho in this movie. If there's a, the term is, they use the term abuse of the elderly or what elderly abuse. This is totally this, but he's kind of taking it out on his own age group as well. Basically, he terrorizes the elderly home with a sadistic game called The Role of Jenny Penn. While wheedling his dementia doll as an instrument of cruelty, what begins as childish torment quickly escalates into a far more sinister and disturbing incident. When Mortensen pleas to the staff go unanswered, he takes it upon himself to put an end to Creeley's reign of terror. It's almost like a Dexter Morgan in a way, kind of revisited in a way in an elderly home, because the one guy is sticking up for the other people, and he sees as Creeley is a very, very bad person, and he's like really mean and mean-spirited. He's kicking the other elderly residents and whatnot. And the one Jeffrey Rush here stands up to him, and I'm not going to tell you what happens because I'll be giving you, kind of the whole end game of this movie. But yeah, I kind of like this. Well, I really like this one. But I was not expecting much, is what I was going to say. I really thought it's probably all cover, and with John Lithgow in it, I was like, yeah, it's probably not going to be that good. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably going to be a letdown, or it's going to be one of those really majorly slow burn ones that I don't really like. But, yeah, I highly recommend this one. And like I said, I'd probably put this in my top 5 for this year for horror films. I had that much fun with it. But check that out. I don't know if it's currently available on Amazon Prime or anything like that, but obviously it must be on Shudder, so check it out on Shudder, with it being an original. But highly recommend that one. And I want to say this one too is a Scream Factory Blu-ray DVD combo pack. It's Death Valley. Not even a Scream escapes. It has a few, very limited special features, but this is an older film, too, from 82. Clocks in at 87 minutes. Tara Trepp says it has solid acting, especially from, everybody known well, that little actor, Peter Billingsley, who played in Christmas Story, who delivers a simple, believable performance without any pretense. Highlight of this enjoyable splatter effort, which doesn't shy away from the red stuff. And I want to say this had Child's Play actors. Okay, yes, it does. It has Child's Play actors Catherine Hicks in this as well, and she plays his mother. I haven't ever seen this. That's the darndest thing about it. I always like Peter Billingsley in a lot of everything he's been in. He's even appeared in stuff like Little House on the Prairie. I caught that like a week or two ago that he actually showed up on that show as well. He was in everything back in the day, but I can't say I recommend this because I haven't. I think I've seen bits and pieces of it, but it seems like every time when I get to see any of it, it's before DVR and stuff when it was on, and I never caught it in its entirety, but looks really cool, and like I said, it doesn't hurt that it has Catherine Hicks and Peter Billingsley as, top lining in this movie. But like I said, that's a Blu-ray DVD combo pack from Scream Factory. This first season recently completed of Walking Dead Dead City Season 1. Keep Your Enemies Close. Apparently, I didn't watch this on. I watched this kind of like here and there. I didn't really watch it on AMC, but this has a 2023 WonderCon panel. Really nothing special in this one in terms of like special features. It's a say in 2-disc set. Clocks in at about 4.5 hours of entertainment. Basically, years have passed since we last saw Maggie, Lauren Cohan, and Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. The old enemies must form a tenuous alliance in order to carry out a dangerous mission. Maggie and Negan travel to a post-apocalyptic Manhattan long ago cut off from the mainland. There they discover a crumbling city filled with the dead and denizens who have made New York their own. A world of full anarchy, danger, beauty, and terror. But as the pair moves deeper into the gritty depths of the walker-infested city, it becomes apparent that the traumas of their tumultuous past may prove just as great as a threat as the dangers of the present. And there's a really cool zombie by the end of this first season that rears its ugly head by the end. I thought that was very well done. I kind of get a little bit, like with this cover, I kind of get the vibe, like, it kind of feels a little bit like just about any video game that has zombies in it, mixed with a little bit of Planet of the Apes with the take on the Statue of Liberty there. But yeah, for having two main characters from The Walking Dead, I thought they did a really good job. Honestly, I think a lot of ways, the least amount of characters that you have in these shows, I feel like it made the show that much better. And I think Maggie and Negan play really well off each other. And I highly recommend this one. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but I plan on checking it out. I think it's out right now, but I'm not sure. Because I lost track with it after season 1. But I highly recommend season 1 if you haven't seen it. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I don't know, everything I see him in, I really enjoy. Like, gives, top-notch performance. Not that Lauren Cohan don't, but she's not in the stuff like he is. And, I don't know, the guy's got to be almost like burnt out from all the stuff he does between Supernatural and, I don't know, countless other things. I see he's on a show called something to do with, I can't remember. It's like an elimination kind of show. I can't remember what it's called. It actually has the same name as the TNA pay-per-view, and I'm blanking on that at the time I'm recording here. But yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But that looks like a pretty good show too. But then I got a movie here starring Guy Pearce, Keith David, and Stephen Lang, The Seventh Day. God help us. And this is a possession film, and I had to get this immediately. Guy Pearce did Iron Man 3, Memento. Keith David, who did Crash and Armageddon, and Steve Lang, who did the 2 Avatar films, and the 2 Don't Breathe films as well. Bonus features is I don't know, can't really make what. It's just saying EPK. I'm not sure what that is. A rookie priest arrives for his first day of training with a renowned exorcist. As they plunge deeper into hell on Earth, the lines between good and evil blur and their own demons emerge. It's pretty, straight to the point and basic. It's for 2021, approximately 87 minutes. I don't know, I didn't hear much about The Seventh Day, but I am a very huge fan of possession films. It's probably in my top 3, top 4 in terms of like subgenres and horror. I don't know, even the bad ones, I still find myself enjoying them because I don't know, it's just something to see on screen, people being possessed, and sometimes they're really bad, but then there's sometimes that you find a hidden jewel and stuff you don't expect. But this will go right in my possession section of the horror vault, and happy to have it. And I do like Stephen Lang. Mildly like Guy Pearce. I do like Keith David, just for the the genre stuff he's provided us over the years. But yeah, I was really happy to pick that one up. And here's one that gets to the very much maligned movie, and this is a Scream Factory as well. A Blu-ray DVD combo pack. In the 1990s, a serial killer terrorized an upstate New York town. Some murderers leave clues, some leave warnings. This one left the Poughkeepsie tapes. And I must say, this is not very far in terms of like landscape, miles away from where I live, Poughkeepsie. I don't live that far down in New York, but I do live in the upper part of it. But it wouldn't take long to get there by car. But it's clocks in at 81 minutes. Like I said, it's a Scream Factory. This one came out in 2008. And this was very much maligned for about 3, 4, 5 years. It actually wasn't being... It was supposed to come into theaters and then got bumped. I can't remember what the reason. It had something to do with the movie company distributing it or something. I don't know if they were bought out or something, and then they lost the rights to bring it out. And I remember this being plugged heavily at the cinema. And I was like, God, I got to see this movie. And I like waited years. And then when I saw it, it just didn't live up to the hype to me. Kind of like that clown one, where, you know, the clown sightings. I think it's called the clown sightings or something like that. Kind of reminded me of that. It was a bit of a letdown. But it was pretty interesting. It kind of felt like it was taking some of Dexter. I mean, I don't know if, obviously, if this was out after Dexter, but it kind of felt like maybe Poughkeepsie tapes or whatever kind of stole from the show Dexter a little bit with all, you know, recording all their killings and stuff on tape or whatever, whereas Dexter used the blood slides and stuff to kind of as trophies and that kind of thing. Not that I'm saying it copied that at all, but it just kind of has that similarity. It has special features with director John Eric Dowdle, theatrical trailer. I'm not really going to go into reading it because it is a lot of reading right there, like from here to here, and pretty much you kind of get the gist of. Basically, it's a serial killer recording all of his killings in the Poughkeepsie, New York area, and these tapes all surfaced, and some of it really graphic, some of it probably would turn your stomach. I'm sure there's some things that the studio couldn't get away with to make it to the final film, but okay, it was an okay film. I think when you set the bar really good like that and then it doesn't deliver, you feel disappointed, and that's the case with the Poughkeepsie tapes. And my daughter feels the same way about it too. She thought it was a letdown. Oh, and then I got this one. This is Don't Open Till Christmas. I don't know how this one ever passed me by in the collecting part of physical media. It's a Vinegar Syndrome release. It's regions A, B, and C from 1984. Clocks in at 87 minutes. Has a slew of additional information and special features. It does have a reversible cover artwork on this as well. Original theatrical trailer, behind-the-scenes steel gallery. Whole slew of different stuff, like stuff that's got like 16, 56 minutes. I guess it's like extra doc that they shot on this film about the movie, that kind of stuff. But pretty much any slasher fan out there tonight pretty much knows what this film, they know of this film. I always liked this one. I don't know. I always like these horror slasher films that take place at the holidays. Especially, with the recent news of Silent Night, Deadly Night coming to theaters this holiday season. I don't know if I'm going to go see that one or not. It just depends. Sometimes my local cinema does not get a lot of the horror films because they have, they make way for all the bigger high-budgeted stuff. But that's Don't Open Till Christmas, and I highly recommend that one. And here's another one I highly recommend. This is Christmas Evil. This has a slew of special features. It says the greatest Christmas movie ever made, says filmmaker John Waters. Directed by Louis Jackson from 1980. Clocks in at 94 minutes. And I'm not going to read this one either because I'm pretty much sure if you're a big horror fan, you pretty much know what this movie's about. It's the guy that, wants to be, be like a Santa Claus, but, he kind of takes it to a new level. as the more longer he becomes Santa, the more diabolical he kind of becomes too. I mean, some of the problems in the movie is people are approaching him, and he's a little nuts in this movie, and he's worked a lot of overtime and kind of taking on the stuff at the toy factory and stuff, and kind of being made the butt of jokes and stuff, calling him kind of a weirdo, and kind of the revenge kind of horror slasher film that some of these slasher character guys tend to go this route because they're made fun of so many times. Not that I'm saying that makes any sense about killing, but you kind of see why if you had to put up with that on a daily basis, and you were a little bit warped or bent or whatever, you might who knows. I hear a lot of weird things in my area about people snapping at job places, but yeah, I highly recommend this Christmas Evil as well. And then in the vein of another slasher film here, I got Don't Go in the Woods Alone. Everyone has nightmares about the ugliest way to die. And I apologize, this is a really long video, but I'm trying to break them all down and be fair to each one. This motion picture depicts scenes of graphic violence. This is produced and directed by James Bryan. You can catch this one on Tubi. I saw it pop up the other night. Almost watched it again because I haven't seen it in a while. It's from 1981, clocks in at 82 minutes. It's considered a 1981 cult classic. I could see this one being really big back in the day, like at the drive-ins and stuff. I don't know, just had that. This is a Vinegar Syndrome as well, if I didn't mention that. It has a slew of special features. Press and art gallery, script gallery, autograph signing party, featurette, TV promo compilation, and so on and so on. But yeah, really happy to get this one. I really love this old school throwback. Obviously it wasn't throwback because it came out in 81, but when you compare it to posters now, the horror films are just so polished. They don't even feel like horror films now. But this stuff, this is just this makes me want to cry how awesome this is. But that's Don't Go in the Woods. And then next up, we got a collector's edition, another Wes Craven film. Very underrated film, I think. It says No More Mr. Nice Guy. This stars Mitch Pileggi as the one and only Horace Pinker. Shocker. And this came out in 1989. It seemed like a lot of horror films that I went to see, are starting to, I'm starting to pick up these all of a sudden, it seems like they're coming out of nowhere. And this was at the time, too, when Peter Berg was very unknown as an actor, but now he's, did an accomplished things as a director. Mitch Pileggi is Horace Pinker, who we know from X-Files. Clocks in. Really a long slasher film when you think about it. It's almost 2 hours on this one. From a live filmed. And this has a slew of special features. I mean, as does a lot of the films from Scream Factory. But again, I don't really need to go into detail. Just basically on October 2nd at 6:45 a.m., the mass murderer here, Horace Pinker, was put to death. Now he's really mad and come back through electricity, and gets into your house through TVs and through the outlets and things like that. Really, really cool concept from Wes Craven. I do really think he tried to recreate many new slashers, and he did good, but he could never quite capture the power of a Freddy Krueger, which is a shame, because I do honestly think he was trying to chase that next awesome. I think he did have some success with Scream, but I mean, with the Scream series, it's really different killers in each and every one. So I mean somebody that's going to be popping up in each sequel and whatnot. I thought he did pretty good with this one. It's often compared to the movie The Horror Show with was it Max Janke that played in that? Who played by, I can't remember the guy's name, Brian something. I can't remember. But yeah, that I know overseas the horror show is called like House 3 or something. It's like really crazy. Like I just seen something too on Jason X. There's the movie I just did recently was a Shredder. I want to say someone had said that's actually considered uh, Jason Y or Jason Z or something in Japan. It's really crazy how they'll remarket these movies and they'll slap it onto something more familiar, but it doesn't make any sense back here in the States. It's like they don't even they don't think we pay attention, but it's really. But like I said, I literally like the Shocker film. And then we're pretty much wrapping up on the horror tonight. And here's another John Carpenter film, Collector's Edition. This is a Screen Factory as well. You think they're people just like you? You're wrong. Dead wrong. And that's the movie They Live from 1988. Clocks in at 93 minutes. I caught this back. I missed this one in theaters back in the day. I don't know. It just was never sold on it. I just thought it looked kind of hokey. The trailers back in the day. It had Roddy Piper. That was probably the only thing that piqued my interest at the time. But I don't know. It just looked really hokey to me. But boy, was I dead wrong about this one. I thought it was really awesome after seeing it on home video. I think I rented it when it first popped up in our local video store. It says they influence our decisions without us knowing it. They numb our senses without us feeling it. They control our lives without us realizing it. They live. And this has quite a few special features: theatrical trailer, TV spot, which would be really cool to see because obviously Roddy Piper's long gone past, and it'd be good to visit this one again. But yeah, highly recommend this one. And I know I say that a lot about the stuff I pick up, but I kind of have distinct taste. Like I know. If I pick it up, then I know it's something I want, or there's some reason I want it. Because I don't normally just do like some YouTubers do, just pick up the latest. The Tuesday pickup that even if the film ain't the greatest, just pick it up for the sake of picking up the weekly, the weekly horror film or whatever, whatever you do on your channel, the weekly hot film, like in the top 3 or whatever for the week. But I had to get this one. Really happy with that. And here's the final 2 for the horror films, and then I'm going to get into a couple of DVDs. Didn't know nothing about this one. Really was stoked about the cover here on this one. It was called Scalper. It stars Susan Priver, late Jake Busey, and Bei Ling in this as well. It's from Breaking Glass Pictures. Extra features, quite a few. Everyone around psychic Clementine Carter is being brutally murdered by a masked killer. Dubbed the Scalper, is a dead psycho Andrew Lovitz back from the grave, a copycat killer, or a horror beyond imagination? Clementine must use her second sight to stay one step ahead of the maniac's blade to solve the mystery. Which was really cool. The Scalper was really cool in this. But then, they do something hokey, kind of like that Michael J. Fox film there. It's a good film. That was a good film. But I'm blanking on the name of it. It was I'm really blanking on it. It was kind of like a PG-13 horror film. The Frighteners. It kind of looked like it was trying to at times copy the Frighteners. The cover like that, how do you not, make it really graphic? Kind of like the killings be like a Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. But then sometimes they'd have this hokey stuff in it with this, these dead ghosts or whatever, and you could tell it was, obviously they didn't have the makeup effect or the special effects of Frighteners and whatnot, and I think that suffered from it as well because of that. But I would marginally recommend this one. I don't think it was really awesome as a whole, as a film, but Then again, there were some things that the killings were pretty brutal at times. I thought it was pretty creepy with the mask there. I don't know if you can see it too good. This kind of comes off a little bit like a Kino Lorber release disc as well, with it being like the clear. It says it's from Dark Star Pictures. This says it came out in 2023, clocks in at 83 minutes, but it's not a bad film. I want to say, I'm not sure if I saw this on Tubi or where I saw it, or on Fossum. I'm not sure, but I did see it. Not a bad film, but also a little bit disappointing as well, with the cover like that. I thought it was going to be more about the scalping and things like that. Not that I'm trying to be, super sicko graphic here with my feelings on not enough gore, but I felt like the premise was there, and it kind of didn't deliver. But still, I like the cover. Pretty cool. A slasher film to add to the deck here. And here's one I really recommend from Tromaville. It's called Graduation Day. And I know this one is on Tubi. I've probably, in the past 6 months, I've probably watched it like 10 times. I always go back and visit this one. The class of 81 is running out of time. After the death of a high school track star during a race, a mysterious fencing mask-wearing killer begins murdering her friends and teachers. Who could this killer be? Her disgruntled coach, her angry sister, her violent boyfriend. As the bodies pile up, a twisted mystery unfolds, slowly revealing itself as it moves towards its bloody climax. One of the quintessential high school set slasher films of the early 80s, newly restored in 4K and presented in its original aspect ratio for the very first time. It has a slew of special features. Clocks in at 96 minutes, and like I said, it's from 1981 and Troma. And this one too says it's a vinegar syndrome, so that's pretty cool. Pretty good pickup. I didn't even notice it was a vinegar syndrome. You vinegar syndrome nuts out there. This is good pickup, I guess, for the channel. But yeah, there's some like things that go on in this too, like Vanna White, who does Wheel of Fortune, very young actress in this one. Kind of like you could tell I think it might have even been her first film. She's in this. Want to say the actor who played in the TV series Fame. I can't remember who he was though. It's been a while since I've watched Fame, but he was in this as well. I'm sure I'm leaving other people out that I can't remember that have been in other stuff too. Oh, and let's not forget horror scream queen Linnea Quigley has a somewhat of a good sized part in this one. But I must recommend this movie too for the one band that performs in this video or in this movie. It's not like a ice skating or roller skating derby, like where you can go roller skating, and I don't know, they just like do this whole song while this killer's chasing this woman and this man, and it's just like, wow, this is like, I don't know, I find myself singing to it just because it's such a cool song and it fits perfectly for the movie. But yeah, really recommend Graduation Day if you get a chance. Pick this one up. You gotta add this one to your slab. I definitely would agree when it says it is a quintessential high school set slasher film of the early 80s. And definitely is. I couldn't remember if it was a high school or if it was a college. I guess it was high school, but it kind of at times I could have swore it was college in this one, but it kind of feels like it could be college as well. Maybe, I'll go out there tonight. Tell me what you think. It kind of did feel like a college cross country running team as well. I don't know. The kids just kind of come off as too old for high school. I mean, they probably were, because there's nudity in it and stuff. But that's Graduation Day. I'm happy to get that. And then I'm on the final 4 ones here. Just random pickups here. I don't know nothing about this one. It's a limited edition starring Caitlin Wax and Paul Wesley, who plays in Vampire Diaries. Beneath the Blue. Hawk, a dolphin communication expert, learns that dolphins in the Bahamas are dying due to the sonar equipment testing being carried out by the U.S. Navy. He must now confront them and stop the deaths. From 2010, approximately 92 minutes. This just kind of comes off mega cheap to me. I don't know. I know you got to start somewhere, but I would probably say it's probably one of Paul Wesley's new lows in his career, just because it's like, seems mega cheap. Like, I don't know, it looked like it could have been like maybe even been a TV movie or something. I don't know. I don't know, just something about it. Just because you don't see Paul Wesley in very much. And then it has Michael Ironside in it as well. I think he goes uncredited in here. I don't really. Let's see him. I want to say that's Michael Ironside right there. Right there. But yeah, mildly interested in that one, so I thought I'd grab it. And then I got, this one's a really well-known one. Ethan Hawke and Lawrence Fishburne. This is a remake of Assault on Precinct 13 with John Carpenter, I believe. This has John Leguizamo, Maria Bello. I want to say she played in ER, possibly, and Ja Rule, and Drea D. Mateo here. That's Assault on Precinct 13. Pretty cool pickup, if I do say so myself. I remember having a lot of fun with this one back in the day. This comes from somebody that has not seen the original with John Carpenter. I doubt it's probably as good as that one. I don't know. But I remember liking it. It's from the producer of Training Day, Adrenaline Charge, Thelma Adams as U.S. Weekly. Does come with a few bonus features. Almost a 2-hour running time on this one, rated R. And it came out in, over 20 years ago on this one, about 20 years ago. I did see this. I want to say I did see this one. I want to say I did see it in theaters, or I at least seen it on home video. I can't remember. But I did see it when it either hit home video, or I seen it when it was in theaters. I can't remember. Then the final two here, I got a movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Reese Witherspoon, Peter Sarsgaard with Alan Arkin and Meryl Streep. Called Rendition. What if somebody you love just disappeared? Just the mystery of this one alone kind of intrigued me about picking it up. Roger Ebert calls it the film and says it's perfect. Has a slew of special features for a DVD, and clocks in at a couple minutes over 2 hours. Widescreen presented from New Line Cinema or newline.com, whatever you prefer to say. I'm trying to see what year. I'm blanking on the year. Apologize. Some of these they just stand out, and then other times they don't. But that's Rendition. Looks interesting. Kind of has that mystery thriller aspect to it. Somebody goes missing on an overseas flight. Basically, I don't know, Jake Gyllenhaal, Reese Witherspoon hunt the person of interest down that they're looking for. And I don't know if they eventually find out what happened to them, or maybe they were murdered. I don't know. I have not seen this one. Good cast. Alan Arkin, as always, I'm sure will deliver a fine performance. He's a great actor. But, yeah, really happy you picked that up. That's Rendition. And then, the final movie here, starring Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston. I remember watching this back in the day, mostly only because of the ferret. Along Came Polly. I want to say I've seen this at the drive-in, because we used to go to the drive-in quite a bit. It's PG-13, clocks in at an hour and 31 minutes. This has a bunch of outrageously funny special features. Jim Ferguson says it's hilarious. Ruben Pfeffer, it's just kind of a weird name already, with Ben Stiller as a guy who spent his entire life playing a safe Polly Prince, Jennifer Aniston, is irresistible as a free spirit who lives for the thrill of the moment when these two comically mismatched souls collide. Ruben's world is turned upside down as he makes an uproarious attempt to change his life from middle of the road to totally out there. Along 𝙇𝙀𝘾𝙏𝙀 is the most hilarious comedy smash to come along in years, and I like this film, but that's a very bold statement to say it's the funniest comedy along in years. And I definitely wouldn't put it in. It's funny, but I wouldn't. I don't know. Last night, like I would watch the Hungover games on Tubi, and I can remember more from that movie than I can from this movie. And this too has the late great actor who passed away too, and I'm blanking on his name. I shouldn't. I feel awful. And this too has Deborah Messing, Hank Azaria, who talks for Moe on The Simpsons, Brian Brown and Alec Baldwin, and I'm blanking on this one dude's name that I can't. Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's in this as well. He's right there. So I do have something from Philip Seymour Hoffman. Very missed actor. Played in such stuff as Capote, and did play in the first Twister too. Is that really insane storm chaser who wanted to run into the storm at every turn. Really miss him in Hollywood. You can tell like when certain actors are no longer around, not just because they passed away, but like the roles that normally would have went to them are going to other people that are less talented. And I'm not knocking on people, actors of today, but like he was a character actor, and you kind of stuck him in a lot of stuff. Like he was a very not like a very person you could interchange that easily with his. I think too he wanted to go on and become more of an acclaimed actor, which he did, but like too he probably got sick of being typecast for a while. But that's Along Came Polly, and I hope everybody didn't fall asleep with all the movies I picked up this week. But tell your friends about Gary's horror drive-in. I know towards the end here these weren't all horror, but majority of them were. They were a lot of Scream Factory, a lot of slasher content, a lot of just a lot of everything that I enjoy. A lot of John Carpenter, if I didn't say. Just a whole slew of a lot of everything. But make sure to get here each and every week. Get here early because the good parking spots go fast. And I'll be back next week. Not sure yet. I want to say I got a small unboxing of some set that I might do a little bit of a rant about next week. And I'll show you why in the video. Just because I thought it was very, kind of upsetting from a collector's aspect. That they wouldn't put more care into delivering stuff, but I have thought of a backup plan for instead of trying to get the money back, I might just get rid of the outer layer of what I'm having a problem with. I'll get into it next week, but thank you for watching, and I'll be back. Bye.